Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Simply G radio show. I'm the co-host of the show, Neil Haley. You can go to my website, totaltutor.net, for more information. Twitter, Total Tutor, Neil S. Haley, Facebook, LinkedIn, Neil Haley, Instagram, Total Tutor, on the Simply G Media Network. And I'm so excited to welcome the program, my co-host and creator of Simply G, GJ Reynolds. And GJ, we're going to have a fantastic show with a really interesting guest.
Yes, well, you just never know who we're going to have on our show. We just keep getting different personalities from all types of backgrounds and businesses and sports and all around the world. So, I'm just amazed. I was talking about this weekend, just all the amazing people that we've had on our show, and how it just becomes more and more amazing. So I'm really excited about today's show as well.
Exactly. And the huge audience you had, GJ, so I'm going to introduce him because, again, his dad was my favorite baseball player of all time. So, GJ, I don't know if you ever knew that. My mom went into labor when his dad passed on, and it's just an absolute honor to welcome the program author, philanthropist, Roberto Clemente Jr., author of The True Legacy of an Undying Hero, and he wrote the book with his family. Roberto, thanks for calling.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show, guys.
Oh, absolutely. We're so excited, and it's just an absolute honor to have you on the show again. A huge fan of your father. I never got to see him play, but it's just like being a Pittsburgher and having this on our flagship station. It's just such a tremendous honor. So, Roberto, the first thing I wanted to kind of tell us about is specifically give us a little bit about your background, what you've been doing, not just the book and the foundation, but before that, I guess, basically life as an adult. What types of stuff after you finished up your baseball career did you do?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've had quite an interesting journey. I got hurt. My last year was 1989 with the Baltimore Orioles. I ended up paralyzed from my waist down in spring training. The last day of spring training, I was breaking camp with the team, and Frank Robinson was happy to welcome me to the team, and next thing I know, I'm paralyzed from my waist down. So I had injured my back, hurting a couple of discs. My disc bulged and lost feelings to my legs for 12 days. So that was the end of the career, and I then started managing some teams in Puerto Rico, and it was one of the things that I knew that I had to do something with baseball, but most importantly, something to help people, and that's my veins, and that's why I always say that Dad picked the perfect woman to be his wife and the mother of his children, because that's who we are as a family. So, I ended up broadcasting for the New York Yankees in Spanish from 1997 through 2001, which was a very good era for me to be there, be part of that team and dynasty. And simultaneously, I actually did ESPN Deportes as well, the same couple of years, and probably a few more years after I left the Yankees. But lately, I can tell you that the last year I've learned a lot about myself. I was telling a friend today that I had suffered 8 concussions by the age of 8, and looking back and understanding now what I know now and how I'm involved with brain technology today is quite interesting, and understanding that I have all these limitations and impairments that I grew up with, that I never understood why. But obviously, if you take a look at the wealth of information that we have today when it comes to concussions and our brain health, it's quite outstanding. So for me, I was treated for several concussions, still symptoms of them last year in Carrick Brain Center in Dallas, Texas. And I tell you what, it was quite amazing to see my balance go from 64% to an 84 in 3 days.
Oh, wow.
And also to being on the way to the clinic at 5:30 a.m. on the last day of my sessions, and being stopped at this red light, and all of a sudden feel like someone was taking off a pair of blinders off my face. My peripheral vision just opened up while I was awake. It was quite an interesting feeling and experience, to say the least. But it was quite. I told the doctor. I said, "Doc," he says, "Oh, you're one of the lucky ones, because a lot of people don't understand that now they can see." The peripheral vision is so much better. I mean, it opens up after you have now back your peripheral vision, but they don't even understand, because most of the time people are sleeping when that happens. So for me, it was quite a blessing to experience that.
Roberto, I'm just blown away, just summarizing for our listeners, basically just updates right now, but throughout. Had no idea. And this is the interesting thing about learning, having guys on the show, is that I had no idea that you had a broadcast career, and I did not know basically about your playing career till now. It's kind of, you kind of have to dig deep into certain things, GJ, and this is some interesting things we've been learning about Roberto so far, hasn't it been, G?
And, the one thing that you're bringing to light is, how many other kids, have had the same kind of struggles, and they just didn't understand why, and they bring that into adulthood. And obviously you're being a light and a voice to bring, for your own self, and I know that's going to have impact on a lot of other people's lives, and at least create an awareness. And so I applaud you for being able to do so and be open and honest about it, because, I know that can be very, it could be a sensitive thing and a scary thing, and, how are people going to perceive. So I again applaud you for bringing those things to light. So obviously you've been doing that. So what are you presently doing right now that we can share with our audience?
Well, right now, I'll keep it on the same line, because it's been my mission and my passion the last few years. I became a board member for a buddy's foundation in the name of a child that died at age 9. He suffered from pontine glioma, which is a tumor in the stem of the brain and there's no cure for it. So over 200 kids will die this year from that disease. So because of that, I befriended the neurologist that's connected, trying to save the kids, or at least extending their lives, from Cornell, and the Sloan Kettering in New York City. And, I was very interested in how they were using the technology and so forth. So, a few years later, here I am. I'm connected to a company that we have a handheld device that will detect the hematoma of the brain after a traumatic brain injury on the spot in a matter of 2.5 minutes. So we can actually detect bleeding of the brain if someone gets hurt, accident, car accident, whatever it is, in a matter of 2.5 minutes.
Wow.
That in itself, and I'll go deeper into that, because that device, I believe, should be in every school in this country, because kids are, everyone's hitting their heads in the school system, and the protocol there, if anyone has a TBI, they have to go to the hospital for a CT scan. That in itself scares me, because we have learned that one scan is the equivalent of 400 X-rays. So we're putting the kids for unnecessary radiation into these CT scans, and depending on the makeup and the age of this child, you can change this kid's DNA. So imagine that 2 years later, you so a family member needs some sort of a transplant or blood or whatever it is that your family member can actually help, save your life, and one of your family members, or you want to save him, you can't save him because he's got a different DNA now.
Well, I think it's, Roberto, I think it's fantastic that you're discovering all these things and bringing it to light about head injuries in general. I mean, we've talked to Andy Russell and different NFL players talking about the dangers of head injuries, and we're finally finding out specifically how we can spot things much more quickly with technology and with different things, and it shocked you just to know that what you were dealing with. Did you have any symptoms or anything of concussions and stuff? Like,
no,
nothing.
The only thing that for me in my adult life, and boy, obviously, I've had a bad balance just about all my life since I've been concussed at an early age. So obviously, I've been off balance all my life. That's what happens. I mean, that's why, it is so important to be able to now monitor our brains and make sure that we know what's going on with each of our brains. And the only thing that would happen to me was I would close my eyes in the shower and I would feel like I'm falling.
Oh, wow.
So that means that your balance is so bad that, and I didn't even know, really. I thought it was, it would happen every day. It would happen, really. And now it doesn't happen. My balance is a lot better than way better than before, obviously. But now that I talked about monitoring the brain, we're working on, in the next few weeks, we'll be making an announcement of a test for the brain, which will define differences in your regular brain performance. So you establish your brain's profile of how it performs before you actually get injured or start getting some sort of a disease. This is great for elderly people to monitor them. It could be in a different state. You can monitor your parents, your loved ones, your kids. It doesn't matter. You want to see where their head is, if their head's straight at the time, and you can do that from anywhere.
Roberto, I'm so glad you're educating us on this because I was a former professional wrestler, 9 years. I've taken many chair shots to the head, garbage cans to the head, lots of things, and never was diagnosed with any concussions. But I'm definitely going to look into this more, and I'm glad you're bringing this to light because we've heard from other athletes about concussions and what they've been dealing with, especially with the NFL, and we just don't know. And this new technology would be something really to check out for sure on my end because I spot sometimes certain things that I've interviewed other athletes to talk about where I'll forget where I'm at. And I'm only 41, so it must not be that I'm getting too old this early. But I could tell at times that there's certain things that do happen for me based on the injuries that I've occurred in pro wrestling. So that's just fantastic. And GJ, that's something, I don't know how many concussions you've had in your career, but when playing sports as a kid and stuff like that, but I had a ton.
Well, I don't recall ever having a concussion, and maybe it's just I was so hard-headed and it never fazed me, or I just was very fortunate. I mean, obviously I played competitive basketball until I was 40, and I had other ailments, but I never really had any head injuries, so I think I'm definitely blessed with that. But I've got two teenagers right now. One plays football, and he had a concussion last year. No, we didn't go get a CT scan. Now you're sharing with me how unhealthy that is, and I had no clue. And right there, you've impacted one family's life right there, because I know if it happens again, I know we're going to go a different path. So I thank you very much.
I know, my pleasure. And that thing is about, be able to communicate and truly educate people about what means what. And obviously, I know that it is a protocol across the state when it comes to TBI, where the kids in schools. And, we need to change that. And by having a device like the infrascanner 2000 is something that we need to continue to push and hopefully be able to get it to every school in America.
Well, let's hope we can do that in any way we can help, Roberto, especially with GJ's network and my network. We'll do whatever we can to help you on that end. So that's a surprise, especially that we can hopefully bring out in the World Wide Web through press releases and stuff like that, what's going on that end. But another thing I know that you've been traveling around and your excitement is finally having a book on your father. I'm sure that the whole family writing this book, it's been fantastic to finally get this down on paper to tell truly about who Roberto is and your senior. So I'm sure you're excited about the launch of it a couple months ago and how you've been going out there talking about it, right?
Absolutely. We're very proud of this project. It was time for us to come out and at least give our side of that story and how he was behind closed doors and as a family man, as a husband, as a father. And, sharing all those pictures that have never been published. So, we're really happy that a lot of people have come to me and said, man, I know now a little bit more. I thought I knew it all, but you guys really opened our eyes and really just highlighted some other stuff that we didn't know about.
And I'll tell you, Roberto, I had Al Oliver on the show, and he spoke so highly of your father. It was an unbelievable interview. We were highlighting, promoting a movie that's a friend of mine did on your father. There was a tremendous movie. One of the Olympians, Jamie Nieto, played your dad, and he played him to a T. And we had Al on, and Al just talked about specifically enough the how great a person he was in so many ways, behind the scenes, different things, how good of a mentor he is. And GJ, I don't know if you ever got a chance to listen to that interview with Al, but Al Oliver just absolutely looked at it as Roberto Clemente as a father figure to him, really.
Correct. That's absolutely. And Al always, tells his, stories, and he's one of those guys that does really comes out and articulates his feelings towards that and how he felt about that.
Absolutely. Al's fantastic. And GJ, that's the thing of a mentor. And it seems like that Roberto Jr. really takes after his father in so many ways. As I finally learned from watching his life story, Roberto, that, my gosh, the guy, GJ, just absolutely the greatest humanitarian, truly thought of others in so many ways, GJ.
Well, when I think of your father, I think of also the time that he grew up and was on the time he walked on the earth. There was a lot of different dissension amongst different cultures and all, and he connected a lot of people's lives regardless of what culture. And when I think of your father, I think of Jackie Robinson and all these greats that they had as much impact off the field and probably more impact off the field than they had on the field, and they used the platform of being on the field to elevate what they could do off the field, and so definitely he's impacted a lot of lives, and just looking at all the things that you've been able to do and the walk that you're doing, that just shows the kind of human being he was and a mentor he was and to you, and I again thank you for stepping up and carrying his legacy on and creating your own legacy and impacting a lot of people's lives. So I thank you very much, and it's always great to see people that are truly committed to helping others, and that's sort of what we do. This show is all about empowering people and teaching people how to better themselves, whether it's to their life, their health, or their prosperity, and so again, thanks for coming on the show. So what are some things that you'd like to share as far as further about what you're doing and the book, and also how we can get people can find more about what you're doing and where to find more information about the device.
Absolutely. From our side, I would like to share that, I thank you for your kind words, and Dad, we sometimes forget that it was only 8 years after Jackie's first game that Dad came into the Major League from Puerto Rico. And it was a shock for him to, have that separation, that that feeling of not belonging, and he had to go through the whole thing. But we talked on that a lot because he had to go through that, and plus the culture shock, the language shock. I mean, everything was different for him, and he overcame that and became who he was, and not only he just became a social activist. And baseball was his platform. But we're very proud of who he became, and obviously his legacy after 40 years. We're very proud of what he left us, and what we're going to do is extend his legacy and continue moving on with the young children that are learning about him in history class in many of the school districts. And it's fun to watch the new generation of Clemente fans out there learning about this kid from Catalina, Puerto Rico. For me, I think that people can follow me on R. Clemente Jr. 21 on the Twitter. I'm going to start getting active now with the promotion not only of the book but the RC21X, which is the monitoring test. Like I said, it will define any changes in your own brain's performance. And it's going to be a great tool for parents to monitor their kids' brains after games, after practices. You'll be able to have a peace of mind that your kid's brain is not injured or impaired anymore. So we'll have that monitoring tool very soon. So you just stay put, because in a few weeks you'll be hearing about the RC21X.
All right, well, fantastic. You have a website as well, Roberto, and also is the foundation your family's foundation, or do you run that foundation?
Yes, I actually started the foundation, the Clemente Foundation, in Pittsburgh in 1993-94, and now we actually open up the big umbrella in Puerto Rico, the Roberto Clemente Foundation. That's another announcement that will be coming out, and the website and everything else will be out in the media, from the New York Times to the Wall Street Journal and so forth. So we're very excited. Everything is coming up pretty soon, and we're really excited about that.
All right. And do you have a website yourself, Roberto, that people can, or is the Twitter's the best place to go find you?
Well, Twitter, actually, you know what? I'm very. It's kind of funny, but I actually just started getting into my website, the rclementejr.com. But actually, something happened to it like last week. And I don't want people to go there until it's actually ready to go. Some sort of a virus. Something happened, and somebody got in and did something to it. So
we'll make sure we just keep it on Twitter to find out all the information.
I'll be announcing it.
And
absolutely.
And then also you can purchase your book at Amazon, all over the place. Find the book that your family and you wrote about your father, Roberto. And it's just fantastic to have you on, Roberto. And I'd like to have you back on in a couple months just to talk about the book in general and some more stories about your father, because you're a great guy. And any way I can promote all the other ventures you're doing, definitely will do that. And you're definitely taking after your dad. So much from watching his story, and how basically you guys have some things that have happened in the same way. You're both humanitarians. You both got injured severely almost on the baseball field. Roberto kept playing, and you got to the point of, I never knew that story. So there's a lot of parallels for sure, and you're definitely living his legacy on through your life and your family's life. So best of luck on all the ventures, and thanks again for. You're listening to the Simply G radio show on the Simply G Media Network, and we'll be back in just a moment.